Good morning. I wanted to do the First Amendment Establishment of Religion and Free Exercise Clauses. That would be my focus today, as talking about the Bill of Rights Amendment, the Constitution, and the relevance of it today in culture. The Bill of Rights was created to ensure the rights of the people in the newly created United States. The Bill of Rights here, James Madison wanted to make sure that the government was restricted in certain areas to prevent any type of tyranny and corruption. As historians, we must look at the Bill of Rights in an unbiased viewpoint and try to extract the true meaning behind each amendment. The First Amendment has debated for years on how to interpret its meaning behind freedom of press, to assemble, freedom of religion, and speech. In this amendment, it lists the rights protected by the government. I will be focusing on the freedom of religions portion of this amendment and how culture has interpreted this part of the amendment. The Federalists wanted a constitution that reflected a strong central government to replace the Articles of Confederation, but the Anti-Federalists wanted to limit the power of the strong central government by introducing a Bill of Rights. Here in this graphic, you can see, the Federalists, the Anti-Federalists. Anti-Federalists opposed the ratification of the Constitution. The Federalists favored ratification of the Constitution, a powerful central government. Eventually, they compromised on the 10 amendments that go into our Bill of Rights. The beginning of the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. This statement in the Bill of Rights has been argued about how to interpret these clauses in the context of our culture. This amendment was designed to protect people's rights to worship their religion and to limit the government from promoting or establishing any religion. This fear was taken from the recent history of the British establishing a national religion. The framers wanted to keep this religious freedom intact. Many court cases would not come until the 20th century. When this was drafted, most people lived in a Christian setting. But as time went on, secularism would take root through many forms in American culture. People would start to challenge the status quo of religion in our country. Notable court cases include that I accessed through the Bill of Rights Institute.org was Engel v. Vitale in 1962. New York's requirement of a state-composed prayer to begin the school day was declared an unconstitutional violation of the Establishment Clause. Another notable court case would be Lemon v. Kurtzman in 1971. Supreme Court struck down a Pennsylvania law reimbursing religious schools for textbooks and teacher salaries. The Supreme Court would use this case for future situations as a guide known as the Lemon Test here. And this would determine whether or not the Establishment Clause is being violated. The 3 points that are discussed in the Lemon Test are, does the law have a primary secular purpose? Number 2, is the principal effect neither aids nor inhibits religion? And then number 3, government and religion are not excessively entangled. And the Lemon Test would be used for later court cases. Another notable Supreme Court case would be in 1980, would be Stone v. Graham. State law mandating the display of the Ten Commandments in the public school classrooms. That was declared a violation of the Establishment Clause. Displaying a Judeo-Christian principle, the Ten Commandments. Obviously, the United States viewed that as a promotion or establishment of a certain religion over others. As I've read and researched, the progression of the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause has changed dramatically since the drafting of the Bill of Rights. Jefferson's views of these clauses early on was it set a healthy wall between state and religion. Our job today as Christians in modern society is how do we interpret or act on these clauses proposed in the First Amendment. Researching the timeline of these court cases, I found that as culture continues to be more secularized and technology-driven, the traditional values intended for our founding documents will continue to be challenged as we move forward. As a Christian, I am optimistic about the future of Christians in America because the U.S. government continues to separate itself through culture. It separates itself from any religion, including Christianity. But that gives us the freedom to worship and continue to be the light in our country that desperately needs Jesus. Personally, I agree with the idea of having the separation of church and state in our country. Christianity thrives in times of many obstacles and oppression. As long as our government does not violate our free exercise clause, we should respect our government. God calls us to be the light light in the world, no matter what the contextual situation is. Followers of Christ should be the influential force in countering the mainstream culture. Guys, thank you so much for listening to my video, and I hope you enjoy.